Welcome back to tonight's Sad Reality, where the only reality more sad than life itself, or filming, what, 7 videos in a row without a single view is probably going to be AI, or the current state of the world. Gosh, there's so much stuff I could talk about tonight, whether it's the whole Jeffrey Epstein stuff and the hypocrisy in our government being as insane as it is. Also, I suck at this game already. Or, just, like, everything in the world in general just kind of sucking. I'm like, we could do better as a people or something like that. But it is what it is, It doesn't have to be. Anyways, okay, it's not an evil tree. Not every tree that looked like that was about to be evil or something. I guess it's subjective. I'm not take too much damage here. Anyways, so what I find really interesting is this idea of creative restraint, right? What does that actually mean? Well, think of it like taking... Sorry, I was trying to figure out what's going on here. Think of it like taking something kind of complicated or complex, like art as a whole, and saying, okay, we're going to boil this down to two things, like a pencil and a sticky note, for example. And what do you have? Not many tools to work with, but you have some really creative ways to make something very unique. So what's an easy way of doing that? Well, outline, you can do thick or thin outline. There's shading. 2 skill points. Bonus health, because I'm gonna need it, inevitably. Sorry, focusing up again here. I don't really know what's going on. I mean, it's like turn-based, so I guess it's not really timed anyway, so I can take as much time as I would like. But you can make something like that, and it doesn't have to be complicated, It can be very simple, and it'll work, it'll get the job done. Now, AI is kind of interesting, because when we think of this idea of something that's generated, well, you're giving it no restraints, for starters, in a lot of cases, unless it's, like, a requirement by, like, OpenAI in the case of ChatGPT, or other, Paranoid Elite Force. Damage up to elites by 5%. I have no idea how this RPG works, I'm just trying to make stuff happen. But, so you take a game like this, for example, and it's very simple, you just have an RPG character, you just slide along, collect your coins, shoot your enemies, or hit them, attack them, slam them, smack them. And you can make something really unique from it, but it's kind of interesting how it feels like AI is kind of taking that away, but it's also given a lot of power to creators who know how to use it, For example, like, take Doug, all the AI content he does, although I know recently there was a stream here that was sponsored that people are like, ooh, bad idea, and I'm like, I'm not one to judge, I don't really care. I use AI sometimes too, it helps me kind of consolidate some of the ideas I have for the videos that I produce here. Even as garbage as these are. Guess garbage in, garbage out, right? AI for you. But it's not about doing less, creative restraint. It's this idea of choosing less so you can find ways to do more with it. Which I find very interesting. Do I need any potions, anything like that? Not really. But the idea simply being, limitation doesn't kill creativity, it's more like a focus for it. It's like, okay, well, of all the things you could do, let's ignore all of these, let's find some really unique ways to do that. Even one of the older games I played a while ago, coloring pixels, it's literally just squares on a board, and finding ways to, like, make designs out of that, New recruit, neat. I haven't played this game in forever, so I have almost no idea what's going on. I think you can mine this. Appetite, hungry. I love humor. It's always really interesting to do that. Like, even this channel kind of as a function, it's a very limited space. Like, eventually I do want to improve the recording quality here, but it'll probably be a while before I'm able to, really. I mean, I don't have the ability to get a computer set up, because I don't have the space for it, the means to host that, the power for it, whatever. I would like to, but you gotta do what you can with what you have where you are, in a lot of cases. Why did I think creative restraint would be interesting to talk about today, though, specifically? Well, I find it really interesting that it seems like a lot of people have all the tools in the world, but they don't really try much with them. Sometimes the way I talk, I've always thought it was a little bit odd from the... Is that a door to my right? Oh, it's just a tile. Sometimes the way I talk is a little bit odd, and I think that's... Anyone who thinks that are totally valid in saying so. You know, it's not normal, the thoughts I have aren't perfectly normal, and I think I'm evolved. Interesting. I think in the case of, like, doing what you can with what you have where you are, it's like, okay, well, I'm not the most eloquent speaker, I don't have the most normal thoughts, but I'd like to try to, you know, say things, have a conversation, meet people, and make a difference in the world around me. And again, talk about retail, it's like the however many nights in a row. It feels like so many people kind of give up when we could be doing more, and something that I'll probably talk about in a future video, probably talk about American consumerism as a whole. Something that bothers me on like a huge level is this idea that we sell things to people that they don't need, but that's also what we're supposed to do. I think a lot of people see that, think about it, and they're just like, why, what's the point of that? And I'm like, money's the point, it's evil, don't do that. But if you're paid, you have a job, you know, and there's only so much you can do with that. You gotta do the most you can, you know? I'm lucky to have a job, because the situation I was in before that was very unfortunate. Or, it's a sad reality, insert joke here. But it just wasn't great, you know? I'm blessed to have parents in my life, but I don't necessarily think they're the best people, and when it comes to their sense of judgment, I often wonder where they're going to end up as a byproduct of that. So, I say all of that to say, people kind of give up when they're good at something naturally, or there's no reason to really continue to push further beyond that. And you take a game like this, where it's incredibly simplistic, you know, just a few mechanics, even Pressure from last night, there's just like a few mechanics you gotta nail down, a few quick time events, and you're good after that, you know? I don't like this elite here. Smack him. It's just a few, like, gimmicky things, and then you just nail it, you know? It's not something that's supposed to be too hard, and I think it's perfect like that, you know? I was hitting the checkbox earlier, that's why that wasn't letting me do the thing. I was like, what does this do if you do that? It just locks it and unlocks it. Oh, interesting. I'm learning very slowly, but it's happening. Hazy Cave. Fight your greatest enemy. Perhaps I will. But so if you're already really good at speaking, what's the point in learning to speak more, you know? I love bosses. Sorry, focusing a little bit. Mew doesn't have mana yet. Is he stuck? Jeez, okay, I suck at this game. You take something very simple, you know, and you make it what it is. The best of your ability. And maybe I'll just sit here in the screen and talk about it for an hour here. Probably not an hour. When you can't do anything, you usually do nothing, and when you have boundaries, you have a path. It's very interesting. It's like if you were to explore a meadow, you can go anywhere you'd like, but if you're hiking, you need a trail. You need a path, you need to know which way is forward. Now, knowing which way forward is kind of odd, because you have to consider morality, and what other people want, and then picking up other people's behaviors, and sometimes stuff's bad, sometimes it's not the way it should be. But that's kind of for you to figure out. You know, you become an experienced hiker over time, so that's something you kind of got to learn throughout time. When it comes to sales pitches in retail, it's very interesting that we don't include all the details, kind of by design, but also we do, right? Like, the goal is not to deceive people by any means, but I'm also not going to tell them that the credit card has like 31.67% APR or whatever, because A, no one cares, half people don't know what that means, and then secondly, or thirdly, I suppose, it's like, that's a question they could ask, but it's not like you're going to say that when pitching the card, you know? I agree we should fully inform people, but also as soon as they hit like the accept button and when they're signing up for it, it's in their hands after that, you know? There's not really much else to say there. Creative restraint. So finding ways to basically take the same pitch and change it a little bit, modify it. And, you know, when you find like a cheat code to people, it's not lying, sometimes it's just like being their friend and helping them out with stuff. They'll eventually do stuff back for you, or in some cases just be like, yeah, sure, I'll get this, and we'll see what I can do with it, you know? Hey, it's $30 there. It's very easy to also find yourself in deep water with that, whether it's AI, like I was saying earlier, where it seems like there are no bounds, or anything else like that. It's very easy to sort of ride that line, and it's difficult to navigate sometimes, especially when customers want to claim you're scamming them and other stuff, and then escalate it all the way up to corporate or the CEO. That's always fun. Definitely not speaking from experience today. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Do I just like sit down and just give up and just like die? Like, you know, this sucks. Don't really want to do this anymore. Or do I keep pressing forward? I don't know. Sometimes you learn stuff's not the right way, and like even with this channel, I'm like, there's nothing going on here. This sucks. I have like a screenshot of the past 7 videos getting no views. So maybe it's not the right way forward. If the entire point of what I started the channel with being, oh hey, you gotta talk to people. If no one's listening, then what do these conversations matter? The answer is nothing. They don't matter. They might come up in the future again, but that's for the future, I suppose, and I don't know, I guess one can only hope that it'll actually mean something. But until then, what we do have is this. One of my coworkers today said something along the lines of, well, at the end of the day, I don't really care what happens here as long as I can hang up my hat in honesty. And I was like, that was really insightful. I did not expect that to hear that from a coworker. But, I was like, that's kind of killer, you know? Just do what you can with what you have, be honest, and if you're screwed over at the end of the day, that's just the way it is, but you did the best you could, you know? Whether it's drawing, whether it's any pursuit, do the absolute best you can. Do so honestly, and sometimes you have to limit yourself, you have to step back a little bit and figure out the right way forward, but you'll get there eventually, you know? It's only a matter of time, but it'll happen. So, there's gotta be a choice in that, there's gotta be some sort of level of honor, dignity, or just decision not to... It's like restraining yourself in some way in order to press forward in other ways. So, I hope that's insightful to some degree. With these videos, again, the quality's gone downhill, and that's kind of the way these things go, you know? If quality's down, nobody wants to watch it. It's how YouTube works. It's only the best of the best survive. I was thinking about this earlier too, but like, you can do exactly what I've done and see people and they're like, why aren't my videos being suggested to people? And I'm like, okay, well I have English. I have a successful channel and I have this channel. The quality on here is bad. The bitrate sucks. The mic quality, everything else kind of mid. Gameplay, not that great, you know? So what's the point of putting that out there if it's not that good, if you can just go watch something that's better, you know? When you look at people that are kind of average and doing stuff, they're average but not that average. You can take Let's Players like Markiplier, PewDiePie, any of those people that are really popular, and there was a reason why they saw success, you know, whether it was knowing the audience or knowing the way forward. Knowing the way forward. Sometimes it requires a little bit of luck with the algorithm, and I think it requires luck if you're not putting more effort into these things than you actually are. Again, creative restraint going in here. So I'm kind of losing my train of thought. Again, 2 in the morning. I still need to pre-record a bunch of videos starting tomorrow for everything else. It's amazing. Maybe I should do a thing too where I just like invite people on and keep the conversation going, because I feel like that's what I'm lacking. It's really hard to talk by yourself and make something happen. So just keep making this happen, I suppose. I don't know, I'll leave it with this. creativity isn't really about chaos, it's about shaping chaos into something meaningful, and I think that's what it means to either navigate life, YouTube, or anything else. So, all that said, I hope this garbage recording video is good background noise, worth your time, something like that. And have a good rest of your night. It's been tonight's sad reality. We're slowly fading into the abyss of no one cares anymore, so have a good rest of your night.